how to train your mind to attract unlimited wealth. They will call it luck. They will call it coincidence. They will say you were born with something they weren't, some advantage, some rare spark, some unfair blessing. But they will never see the nights. The long, silent nights when you went to war with your own doubt. The mornings when your hands trembled, your heart was empty, but your soul was on fire with nothing but a vision that refused to die. They'll never see you fighting for belief in the dark when no applause came. They will never see you sacrificing comfort for a dream that lived only in your mind. Because wealth, true wealth, is not a lottery ticket you stumble upon. It is a frequency, a vibration. It is magnetized to those who command it with the full force of their mind. Focused, relentless, unshakably clear. You were not born to be average. You were not placed here merely to survive, to punch the clock, to live someone else's idea of realistic. You are here to build, to rise, to shape reality into a masterpiece forged by thought and hardened by action. But here's the truth they won't tell you. Wealth is not something you chase. It is something you attract by becoming the kind of person who deserves it. It is not the result of doing more, grinding harder, hustling blindly. It is the byproduct of who you become on the inside. Your mindset is the gatekeeper. And if you train it with discipline, if you sharpen it with intent, if you master it with precision, you will attract more than wealth. You will attract power, peace, freedom, and a life beyond your wildest imagination. Wealth bows only to mental sovereignty. To those who declare, I will not be a slave to doubt. I will not rent space in my mind to fear. I will not live small because others chose to. You want to attract unlimited wealth? Then train your mind like a master. Visualize with such intensity that your vision sears itself into the back of your eyelids. Think with such clarity that no distraction can pull you from your path. Act with such certainty that failure bends in your presence. The world will not give you what you want. It will give you who you are. This isn't about getting rich quick. This isn't about some hidden shortcut. This is about transformation. It's about becoming the kind of person wealth is magnetized to because of what you believe, because of how you think, because of what you expect. Every empire, every fortune, every revolution started with a thought. Andrew Carnegie had a thought. Steel would build the future. Thomas Edison had a thought. Darkness could be replaced by light. Henry Ford had a thought. The automobile could belong to every dreamer, not just the elite. They didn't wish. They decided. They trained their minds to obey their vision, to block out the noise of a world stuck in limitation, and to follow the sound of their own inner music. And that is the beginning of true wealth. Your mind is not just a tool. It is the command center of your life. It is the soil from which all results grow. If it is filled with fear, doubt, and distraction, then no amount of hustle will save you. But if it is saturated with belief, clarity, and burning desire, then not even 1,000 failures can stop you. Wealth is created first in the unseen, in the silence, in the solitude. It is born the moment you decide, truly, deeply, without compromise, that your life will be something extraordinary. And then you back that decision with faith that never bends and action that never stops. But faith alone is not enough. You must think, not loosely, not casually, not occasionally, but deliberately, with discipline, with direction. Most people live like radios tuned to static. They pick up every frequency of fear, scarcity, gossip, and distraction. They wake up reacting, drifting, surviving, and then they wonder why wealth avoids them, why nothing changes, why opportunity knocks on every door except theirs. The answer is devastatingly simple. They have never trained their mind. They've never claimed authority over their thoughts. They've never declared with conviction, I will be the one who rises. You must become ruthless in guarding the temple of your mind. You must be selective about what enters. As a king guards his castle, so must you guard your mental fortress, because what enters your mind enters your life. Ask yourself now, do you fill it with doubt, with scarcity, with gossip, or do you flood it with vision, with purpose, with the sound of your future calling your name? The wealthy don't ask, can I afford this? They ask, how can I create this? They don't look at what is, they look at what could be. They are not bound by circumstance, they are guided by conviction, and so must you be. Train your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Don't leave your thoughts to chance. Program them, strengthen them, elevate them. Every day, speak your vision, think your vision, act in alignment with your vision. Refuse to entertain anything less. Let the world call it luck. Let them call it coincidence. But you will know the truth. You will know the price you paid in silence, the war you fought in your own mind, and the victory that came because you finally became the person who deserved it. Wealth is not a destination. It is a mirror. And when you become the reflection of abundance, it cannot help but flow to you. Not because it is easy, but because it is inevitable. You want to attract unlimited wealth? Then train your mind like your life is the masterpiece you were born to build. Train the mind of wealth, build it first within. They do not see problems as obstacles. They see them as puzzles, opportunities in disguise, waiting to be unraveled by the sheer force of will and focused thought. Where most flinch at the first sign of failure, they lean in. They welcome it, absorb it, study it. Because to them, failure is not defeat. It is data. It is direction. It is the universe revealing the path through elimination. It is the process sharpening them for what they've decided to build. So how do you begin this transformation? How do you step out of mediocrity and into mastery? You begin by reclaiming your mind. You wake up before the world begins to scream. You seek stillness before the chaos. You meet your own thoughts before the internet does. And in that silence, in that sacred space, you make a decision. What kind of life am I building? Not what happened yesterday, not what the world expects, but what you choose. Because if you don't decide, someone else will decide for you. The news will. The opinions of people who gave up on their own dreams will. The ghost of your past mistakes will. And you were never meant to live on those terms. You must become the author of your own day. Each morning you sit with your mind like an architect sits with blueprints, with intention, with precision. You don't hope your day goes well, you command it, you shape it. You program your mind with thoughts that match the life you are building. Not, I hope I make it today, but I will make it. I am already moving. Not, I wish I had more, but I am becoming more. Not someday, but today. I move now. The wealth you desire is not out there somewhere far away. It is already within you, Spanberg, locked behind the door of your own discipline. Train your mind to see abundance in the smallest places, in the chance to grow, in the lesson inside every struggle, in the opportunity to keep going when quitting would be easier. Train it to focus, even when the world claws for your attention. Train it to persist, especially when everyone around you folds. You do this daily, not when it's convenient, not when you're in the mood, not when inspiration strikes, but every single day, because success is not an event. It is not a milestone you randomly stumble upon. It is a rhythm, a pulse, a frequency you train your mind to lock into. And once you do, the world begins to respond. But understand this, you will be tested. Life will send you storms. People will doubt you, betray you, laugh at your vision. You will fail repeatedly. But if your mind is trained, if it is forged in the furnace of faith, discipline, and relentless action, then nothing can break you. You won't crumble, you'll calibrate, you won't retreat, you'll revise. And that's the moment when wealth begins to find you, not by accident, but by alignment. Because wealth does not go to the lucky. It flows to those who are ready, those who have built a foundation strong enough to hold it. Do not be deceived by appearances. The world will try to sell you the fruits, the glitter, the gold, the fast cars, the luxury lifestyle. But those are only the symptoms. They are not the source. The source lies hidden, deep in the roots. The unglamorous habits, the lonely hours, the focused mornings, the mental discipline practiced when no one was watching. That's where wealth begins. That's where real power is born. Because wealth is a frequency, and your mind, it is the transmitter. You are either tuned to prosperity, or unknowingly, you are broadcasting poverty. You see, scarcity is not a condition. It is a mindset, a virus of the mind. It creeps in through words like, I can't, that's too much. People like me don't get that. And every time you say it, think it, or even passively ingest it, you strengthen a lie. You reinforce chains you were never meant to wear. But abundance? Abundance begins with a whisper, a quiet voice deep inside that says, there is more, there is enough, there is a way. The greats, you know the ones, they listened to that whisper. They followed it through the doubt, the darkness, the ridicule. They protected it when no one else believed, because they knew something you must now understand. The mind trained to believe in abundance will always find it. Not because the path is easy, but because the result is inevitable when the internal game is mastered. Thomas Edison failed over 10,000 times before the light bulb. Was he crazy? Delusional? No, he was devoted. He saw failure not as a dead end, but as a laboratory of refinement. Every setback gave him new insight. That is the mind of wealth. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. He was fired, broke, and rejected time after time. But he had something most people never even think to develop, a mental blueprint so vivid, so alive, so real that he could walk through Disneyland in his mind before a single stone was laid. That is the power of vision. That is the magic of training the mind. And now, it's your turn. You must build the vision in your mind first, before you have the money, before you have the support, before you have the evidence, before the world believes you must believe, vividly, daily, unshakably. And as you do, your thoughts begin to create your path. Your habits begin to match your destiny. Your actions begin to carve a reality that was once just a whisper. Because when you train your mind to see opportunity where others see limits, when you train your mind to remain steady while others break, when you train your mind to expect abundance instead of fearing lack, then wealth does not just become possible, it becomes predictable. So rise, reclaim your mind, refuse to surrender to scarcity. Design your day like an architect, build your vision with fire. Think deliberately, act relentlessly. And remember, you are not waiting for wealth. Wealth is waiting for you to become the one who is finally ready to receive it. The wealth building mindset, make it so real, the world can't deny it. Make it so real, so vivid, so tangible that when the world calls you crazy, you smile. Because you've already been there in your mind. You've already walked through the gates of your future. You've already tasted the success, heard the applause, felt the freedom. This is not fantasy. This is not daydreaming. This is the practice of mental discipline, of mental toughness, of mental alignment. When your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions are speaking the same language, when they are in absolute agreement, the world begins to bend in your favor. That's not some poetic metaphor. That's reality. Because reality responds not to indecision or passivity, but to clarity backed by belief. You do not attract wealth by wishing for it. You don't beg abundance to visit you. You become wealth. You become undeniable, so valuable, so focused, so aligned with purpose that the universe has no choice but to respond. This is not philosophy. This is not a motivational poster. This is law, like gravity, like time, immutable, unavoidable, universal. Clarity is the beginning of power. Until you are crystal clear on what you want, your energy is diffused. Your mind is scattered like dust in the wind. The man who knows exactly what he wants and believes he will get it, he already holds a kind of power the world cannot understand. The world may not see the result yet, but he carries the result within. That certainty bends reality toward him. You must be detailed, not "I want to be rich." That's vague. That's noise. That's what everyone says. What does rich look like for you? How much? Doing what? Living where? Waking up next to whom? What kind of home, what kind of schedule, what kind of purpose fuels your days? Until your vision is sharp enough to paint, you are walking blindfolded. Write it down, speak it aloud. Visualize it so often and so vividly that your subconscious cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. Because once your subconscious accepts the vision as truth, your actions will follow. Your habits will evolve, your expectations will elevate. This is how the wealthy live. They don't wait for the bank account to rise before they think like owners, creators, leaders. They think like that first. Because wealth is not a result. It is a reflection, a mirror of your standards, your identity, your mindset. You want more? Raise your standards. Stop speaking like you're broke. Stop thinking in limitations. Stop surrounding yourself with people who bathe in doubt, who whisper small dreams and radiate fear. Environment matters. More than you know. Your surroundings feed your subconscious. They either fuel your rise or sabotage your climb. If you're always around small minds, you'll shrink to fit their comfort. But if you place yourself among visionaries, people who dream wildly, speak with certainty, and demand more of you, then your mind will expand. The thoughts you think are seeds. Every day, you water them with emotion. You feed them with focus. You grow them with repetition. So, plant the seeds of wealth. Plant the thoughts that say, I am worthy, I am capable, I am building something that will outlive me. Then get to work, not just physical work, though that's vital, but mental work, daily affirmations, daily visualization, daily mental conditioning. This is the missing piece most people never touch. They set goals, but they never reprogram the mind that created the struggle in the first place. You cannot escape scarcity with hustle alone. You have to uninstall the operating system of lack. You have to delete the outdated software of self-doubt. You have to replace it with truth. With the awareness that you are the architect of your reality. Wealth is not out there somewhere. It is in you, waiting to be activated, waiting for you to believe, to act like it's already yours, to walk like someone who's been to the mountaintop, even if your feet are still in the valley. Because here's a universal truth. You cannot outperform your self-image. If you see yourself as a struggler, a victim, someone who gets by, then even if money finds you, it won't stay. You'll self-sabotage, you'll repel it. But if you see yourself as powerful, resourceful, a builder of value, then money will stick to you like gravity, because wealth goes where it is welcomed, where it is respected, where it is expected. And hear this. This is not about arrogance. This is not about entitlement. This is about alignment. You're not saying, I deserve wealth because I'm special. You're saying, I will train my mind to become the person who creates wealth because I have something to offer the world. And you do. You have ideas. You have insight. You have energy that can heal, build, expand. You are not here to just consume. You are here to contribute. This is why you must build wealth. Not just for comfort, not for cars, clothes, or convenience, but because wealth is your ability to serve at scale. It is your ability to move the needle for your family, your community, your future. Money is not the root of all evil. Fear is. Aimlessness is. Weakness disguised as humility is. Money is a magnifier. It only makes you more of what you already are. If you are selfish, it amplifies that. If you are generous, it multiplies your giving. If you are lost, it accelerates your collapse. If you are rooted in purpose, it expands your legacy. That is why your first fortune must be built in your mind, because without a trained mind, money slips through your hands like sand in a storm. But with a trained mind, every dollar becomes a seed. A soldier in service to your vision, a tool in the hands of someone with purpose. You must stop thinking like a consumer. The consumer waits, consumes, responds. But the creator decides, initiates, leads. Start asking different questions. Not what can I buy, but what can I build? Not how can I afford that, but how can I create more value? Not will I ever make it, but what kind of person must I become to guarantee that I do? Build that mind, build that standard, and wealth will follow, not as a prize, but as a natural response to the power you've cultivated within. Train your mind for unlimited wealth from vision to reality. Not how much do I need to get by, but how far can I stretch what I already have? Not what's trending, but what is timeless, valuable, and needed. Because the consumer mindset chases the illusion of success, like status, short-term highs. But the creator mindset, it generates success, produces value, and multiplies impact. Think of Andrew Carnegie. He didn't sit around asking, how can I make more money? He asked, what system can I build that produces value for millions? That's a wealth-generating question. That's a legacy-building question. Because wealth doesn't flow to people who chase shiny things. It flows to those who solve problems at scale. So if you want to create wealth, real, lasting, unstoppable wealth, your mind must become solution-oriented. Every challenge you face is not a curse. It's a call, not a call to retreat, a call to rise. You stop wishing it were easier. You start asking, what am I being called to become in order to overcome this? Because wealth is not a reward. It is a responsibility, and it only belongs to those who have built the inner capacity to carry its weight without collapsing under the illusion of ease. You want to be rich? Then stop asking for comfort. Start asking for capacity. Grow your capacity to lead, to learn, to endure, to hold the tension between the vision in your heart and the reality in your hands. That space between what is and what could be, that's where champions are made. And here's a truth that will separate you from 97% of people. Wealth is boring. It is repetitive. It's not loud or dramatic. It's made of small, invisible, consistent acts of discipline. It's in choosing to read instead of scroll, to invest instead of spend, to act instead of complain. Those who chase the dopamine hit of hype and hype alone, without the discipline of transformation, will never hold lasting wealth because motivation fades. Mastery sustains. Fall in love with mastery. Mastery of your thoughts, mastery of your emotions, mastery of your craft, because when you master something, you become irreplaceable. And the marketplace always pays a premium for the irreplaceable. But most people won't do it. They want wealth now. They want the result without the roots. They want the glory without the grind. You will not be that person. You will be the one who understands that wealth moves toward those who delay gratification, those who say no to now because they've already seen what's coming. You will be the one who understands that discipline is not punishment. It is preparation. And every time you choose structure over chaos, clarity over comfort, intention over impulse, you are tuning your mind to the wealth frequency. This isn't about deprivation. It's about creation. Because when your mind is trained, you don't need to prove your worth to anyone. You don't need to show off. You show up. You don't wait for permission. You move with conviction. That's the difference between dabblers and dominators. It's not talent. It's not background. It's not luck. It's mindset. And your mind right now is either working for you or against you. There is no neutral ground. So how do you turn your mind into your greatest asset? You program it like software. You feed it wealth thoughts. You repeat them until they feel like truth. You visualize your goals until they're so familiar, failure feels foreign. You surround yourself with people who think bigger, who live on purpose, who do not fear success. They expect it. And you remove distractions like a surgeon removes a tumor, with precision, with no compromise, with no apology. Because you're building an empire, and empires aren't built by people who entertain every notification, every distraction, every mood. Your focus is your fortune. Guard it like gold, and not just your focus, your emotions too. Because the road to wealth will not be smooth. There will be droughts, there will be delays, there will be days when nothing works and your mind will beg you to quit. That's when emotional resilience separates the broke from the bold. You must learn to act independently of your feelings. You must keep the promise you made to yourself long after the mood you made it in is gone, because the wealthy don't move based on how they feel. They move based on what they've decided. The mind trained for wealth doesn't negotiate with weakness. And when the storm comes, and it will, you must remember, you are not the storm. You are the force that walks through it. With every setback, you get sharper. With every failure, you gain feedback. With every rejection, you refine your edge. This is how the wealthy think. They don't fear loss. They use it. They don't run from adversity. They rise through it because they know the fire that burns your excuses is the same fire that forges your fortune. And now we arrive at the turning point, because none of this matters. Not the knowledge, not the books, not the motivation, unless you decide. Unless you cross the invisible line between I want and I will. Desire is a spark, but decision is the fire. It's the moment you stop dipping your toe into possibility and plunge fully into your potential. No guarantee, no map, just a vision, a backbone, and a reason that burns louder than every doubt. The universe does not respond to hesitation. It responds to boldness, to clarity, to unwavering faith backed by relentless action. Think of Henry Ford. When they said the V8 engine was impossible, he didn't say, maybe they're right. He said, build it anyway. And when his engineers said, it can't be done, he said, keep working. I don't care how long it takes. Because his mind was made up. His vision was non-negotiable. And reality bent to the power of his belief. That is how wealth is born. Not by waiting for perfect conditions, but by commanding imperfect conditions to obey a perfect vision. You do not need more time. You do not need more credentials. You do not need more approval. You need more conviction, the kind, the kind that can't be faked, the kind that drips from your voice when you speak your vision, even if your bank account says otherwise, the kind that moves mountains because you refuse to be moved. Train your mind to become immune to rejection, immune to failure, immune to the noise of a world that doubts everything bold, because the world will test your resolve. It will throw distractions, delays, and doubt dressed up as logic, but your trained mind, it won't flinch. Because you've already seen what's possible when a human being fully steps into their power. You must kill the version of you that hesitates, that second guesses, that waits for the stars to align. Kill that version. Bury it deep and rise with new thoughts, new standards, new rules, because the wealthy play by different rules. They don't ask, is it possible? They ask, how do I make it inevitable? They don't need guarantees. They are the guarantee. Their mind is trained to expect success, to adapt, to pivot, but never to retreat. This is how you train your mind to attract unlimited wealth. You align it with truth. You feed it with vision. You discipline it with action. You stretch it with purpose. And you guard it with everything you have. No one can do it for you. But once you decide, everything changes. Because wealth is not a number. It is not a lifestyle. It is a state of being. It is how you walk, how you think, how you respond to chaos, to opportunity, to failure, to victory. It is who you become in the process of building it. And when you become the person who thinks, moves, and acts in harmony with abundance, the world reflects that. Doors open, resources appear, people show up, not because of luck, but because you have become a magnet, a force, an undeniable presence that the world must respond to. So stop chasing, start attracting. Stand tall, clear your mind, lock in your vision, move with purpose, speak with power, work like your life depends on it, because it does. This isn't a game. This is the rest of your life. You are one decision away from stepping into the rare air where wealth becomes normal, effort becomes joy, purpose becomes profit, and life stops happening to you and starts happening through you. Train your mind and the rest will follow, because once your mind is wealthy, the world has no choice but to catch up. And remember this, repetition is the sculptor of destiny. You don't become what you visualize once. You become what you visualize consistently, daily, obsessively, until your brain rewires your habits, your standards, and your surroundings to match your internal self-image. That's not magic, that's biology. So listen again, and again, and again, until it's installed in your subconscious, until your vision becomes reality. Conclusion, the final call to greatness. Wealth is not won in the marketplace, it's forged in the mind. The true currency of success isn't money, it's clarity, discipline, and conviction. If you've made it this far, understand this. You were not born to merely survive. You were born to command reality, to shape the unseen into the undeniable. Train your mind until wealth becomes your natural state, not your pursuit. Repeat the vision, rewire the system, rewrite your story, because once the mind believes, the world has no choice but to follow. Don't wish, decide. Don't chase, attract. Don't wait, build. The life you dream of is already waiting in the discipline of your thoughts.